Wilson Miles from Black Film TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Going
Great. How are you?
well.
So obviously, we've known the games, we've seen the series. What led you to say, yes, I'll be part of this, take my chances, but it's worth it for the money? Mark?
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of the scripted show. I loved watching it all three seasons on Netflix while it's airing. I'm a big fan of reality TV, and I love watching Squid Game: The Challenge season one. My friend Dash was in season one, and once the season ended, I saw that thing pop up, and I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm going for it. Like, there's a chance I can get in. It's a higher chance than getting Survivor. Obviously, like I would have. There's a chance I won't be seen, but I felt good, and I was like, I could do this, and I think this could be my game.
Viper?
Yeah, it was like Mark. I'm a huge fan of the series, the scripted series. And then when I watched the challenge, I was like, oh, this looks epic. And I was like, this seems like something that I've never done before. So that initially attracted me to apply. And then from there, like when I got the green light, it was just like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be such a transformative experience. And it really lit up so much life inside of me because I didn't know what was to come. And I went into it with no expectations, but with this sort of openness to just say yes and to throw myself into something that was foreign, that could challenge me, that would grow me. And I'm very happy that I did.
Now, initially, you have to work as a unit in order to advance. That's part of life. As you know, at what point did you feel it was like, okay, now I got to separate myself from the pack because I'm further along and I think I can win this thing?
Well, for me, I had a pretty strong game plan. I knew I was going to be like, oh, I wanted to work with everyone I can. Whoever you want to work with me, I want to work with you. I want to be your friend. I want like that's real. Like that doesn't change. I want friends. But I was not thinking about the money until I got to top 30. Like that was my strategy. I was like, the money is not real until there's less than like 30 people here.
Mhm. How about you, Viper? At what
Could you
point
read?
did you say to yourself, I got to separate myself from the pack?
When I walked through the front door, I would say that I saw so many people just very excited to be there, which is completely natural and it's going to happen. But instantly I was like, okay, we're probably setting ourselves up to fail here by just sort of leading with emotions first and just sort of like building those connections blindly. Like that was my initial thought. In retrospect, that's not how I think. Um, but while I was there, I was like, okay, you can't play this game by yourself because so many elements are shared. You have to put faith in other people. There's team games. Very little things that we did were independent challenges or like on your own. So I instantly knew that I was going to have to open up a bit and to like put my trust in other people and to start to form connections and alliances. And I'm very happy that I did that. And I think that it worked in my favor. And yeah, wouldn't change a thing.
Tiger Woods once said that, when it comes to golf, guys come to play, so I come to play and win. Like some people are happy just to be there and it's great, whether they're there with their brother, their daughter, family, friends, but then at the end of the day, we're all competitive. We all
Yeah,
want to win. And then
100%.
when you're part of this series, you got to go back to your childlike games to like, because when you're a child, you don't really think so hard. Was there a game at one point that got you stumped?
Um, I would say pentathlon brought a lot of things to the surface for me because it was an opportunity for me to excel at one thing and to help people advance. But it was also an opportunity for me to essentially go home because somebody didn't show up and hit one out of the park. So it was very nerve-wracking because I didn't have total control. And I think that navigating that really allowed me to step up as a team player. And I remember there was one moment in the pentathlon where Steve, who was in my little tribe, he was struggling to do the house of cards. And I was like, okay, this is not just an opportunity for me, but an opportunity for him to grow. And I remember him telling me so much about how he's there because his daughters and how he wanted to do something cool for his family. And I was like, listen, dude, think about your family right now, relax, take a breath, envision them. And then from there, he got himself together and then he built that house of cards. And it was kind of an eye-opening moment for me where I was like, I can be in my best interest and lead with, myself first while I'm also cheering for people to advance as well. And we can all do this thing together, you know?
Hey,
Yeah, for me, oddly enough, kind of similar to Viper there. The first thing with the counting,
Yeah.
I didn't want to count myself, but like I was hoping we were going to be good. It felt like we were good while it was happening, but I was very scared. I'm like, am I just going back to California immediately after this? Like, is this the end of my journey? If it is, I have to be at peace at it. Whatever it is, I have to be at peace at it. And you're like there, and you're just like, I think like you could hear like a pin drop in that room, which you did not feel like was going to happen because like our room was rowdy until it started. And people
Mhm.
were like, hey, I have an idea. My brain's like, okay, we need like five people with ideas to say those ideas, and we have to listen and choose what's best. And I obviously worked out, but it still was terrifying.
Yeah.
hey, best of luck to both of you. Congrats on being on the show. Obviously, people will be looking forward to see, I'm sure you have your fans, whether they're new ones or old ones. So congrats on the show. We'll talk down the road on whatever endeavors you do next. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wilson Morales from Black Family TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Good.
Hi,
Good.
good.
How
Hi,
are you?
Wilson.
Coming into this, obviously, people have seen the games. They know the risk. What led you to say, yes, I'm going to be part of this? Melissa?
I mean, why wouldn't you say yes to this? It's like I'm an adrenaline junkie. I'm as competitive as they come. And for me, it was an opportunity to show my kids, like, take yourself out of your comfort zone and try something that's really hard. And I wanted the whole experience. Like, I knew that the prize money was a large amount of money and a life-changing amount of money, but only one person can win out of 456 people. So I wanted the experience for all that it's worth.
Sounds so scripted. Faith?
This opportunity just hit me in the face. I didn't even mean for it to happen. And then all of a sudden, I won the Squid Game challenge in LA in person. And they're like, your prize is to apply and they'll watch your video. So I said, shoot, why not? Let's do this. And then it all just happened. And I was like, you know what? Life is short. I could die any minute. You never know. I'm doing it. $4.56 million, friends. I'm the country for the first time. Send me.
Claire?
So, fun fact, I actually had a sister in the game, and she was the one who was encouraging me to apply. And at first, I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. And then I ended up just watching season one and just watching Trey and Leanne. Their story was so captivating. And I thought, how cool would it be to have an experience like that with a family member, let alone my sister, who I'm super close with? Not thinking in a million years we would get casted, but I'm so glad we did. And I'm so glad we got the experience together.
Now, before you go into later rounds, if initially you have to work as a unit. When you're on the line, when you talk about how to advance, at what point do you feel the alpha male, the alpha ego have to step out when you know it's only going to be one winner? Melissa?
So, I don't think I fully understand the
The
question.
question is, at what point did you feel, okay, now I got to separate myself from the pack? Because you initially need everybody as a unit in order to further, to advance. Before the further you go, the more you have to think for yourself.
Right. So each round you had to kind of reevaluate where you're at because a round would go by, you just lost 10 allies. You had to be very adaptable to your surroundings. So I feel for me, every round I like quickly reevaluated to myself, okay, who do I want to go with forward? Blah, 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 blah. So once you get to a point when you're in a room and there's beds all around that are singular beds in a room, it's now when the reality of, okay, it is now all up to me. I have to make decisions for Melissa, no longer for the alliance. So yes, there are people that you connect with, and yes, there are people you want to trust. But I think when it got to a point where we all had our own bed was when we really had to start thinking more end game way than just alliance way.
Is that everybody's thinking? Faith, in terms of like, there's a point where you have to say it's all about me. I can't think about anybody else in order for me to win because the goal is actually the money. So, what about you, Faith?
I think that I went in thinking that there's no way I could win if I only thought about me. I think that's a very selfish way to look at it. You kind of have to have friends and people to help you get to that end goal. And so I felt that the whole game I was playing for me, but nothing in life can that is worth having can we usually do by ourselves. So I felt that I needed close relationships if I was going to be the one. Does that make sense?
Kind of, but at the end of the day, it's all about, Granted, unlike the show where somebody dies, obviously this is all this is different. What about you, Claire? At the end of the day, do you think as a team player or did you think individually?
I think definitely in the beginning, I was more of a team player, just trying, especially like pentathlon, mingle. You need numbers for those games. You really do. If you don't have anyone, you're not making it through. But it was kind of after that, the further you get, you start realizing, okay, I can actually win this thing. And you start visualizing your life with this money. And that's what made me start thinking, okay, like I need to really focus on my gameplay and like what I want to do in here.
Tiger Woods once said that like guys come to place, I come to play and win. If you know golf, some guys just come in there just to play. So like, okay, I'm in there. I'll just come in there and I gotta go, and that's to win. So congrats to all of you for being part of this. Obviously, we don't want to spoil it, let people know where it's gonna go. But hey, I'm sure each one of you are gonna have your fans rooting for you. Let's keep it going. Take care, folks. Wilson Morales from Black Filming TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Hi, Wilson.
Doing
Nice
great.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
People
Will.
know the game. We've watched the series. What led for you to come on in and say, okay, I can be part of this? Win or lose, it's all about the money. Curt?
It, believe it or not, for me, okay, the money is always out there, but when there's 456 people in the room, you realize there's not a chance you're going to win that money. And so to me, doing this crazy thing that we were lucky enough to be chosen for, and to do it with my daughter, that was the reward. And the farther we go, great. That's just icing on top. But I honestly, to me, I didn't focus a lot on the money. I'm sure Zoe did, but I didn't.
Yeah,
Come on,
I
Zoe.
think
Tell me you have a different answer, Zoe.
it's just funny in the trailer when it says why make friends when you can make millions. I think my dad's whole strategy in that game was like, no, I'm just here to make friends. But for me, definitely as you get further in the game, the money just definitely becomes so much more apparent, and people start playing a lot more intensely. And it's hard not to envision what your life would be without that money. So, of course, the game is fun and all the people are amazing, but winning that money is the biggest goal.
456. This is no different than the lotto. You play the lotto knowing that the odds are stacked against you. You
Mhm.
play a game knowing that the odds are stacked against you. Was there any game in there? Initially, you start off as a teammate before you have to start thinking individually. So was there any game at one point that you said, okay, I'm gonna need teammates to help me out because I don't know this? Curt?
The pentathlon, um, um, I was in a group of people I didn't know. I separated. I like, okay, let's line up, and then they split us, and I realized that we're a bunch of misfits, and the athletes are on the other side, and we split our group, literally misfits, athletes, and the misfits won, and that was just crazy. And so we literally looked at each other, all of us looked at each other and said, we don't have a chance. And we ended up winning. So that was that game very much so.
Okay. So yeah, there's no spoilers. Obviously, we're going to talk about, but at some point, you're going to have to be separated from Curt at another, and so you have to start thinking for yourself. Do you go in there with that mindset?
Oh yeah, definitely. And there were times when people will ask me like, "Oh my gosh, like do you miss your dad?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm having fun with my friends. Like this is great." So we knew going into the game at some point we'd have to be separated. So I feel like we were pretty prepared for that to happen.
Growing up, were you always a player? Like, was it an athlete or card games? Anything with the mindset is always to win. Not always about just having fun because I'm playing with my friends, but to win.
Yeah, I grew up. I've been dancing competitively since I was 3. I currently cheer for the NFL for the Denver Broncos, so it is a very competitive industry and team to be a part of. And I think being the oldest daughter, that's just something that's kind of innate and has been natural my whole life.
Yeah, that's funny you said that because I'm a New Yorker. So when you said Broncos, I'm like, what? Knowing what just happened?
Yes, you saw that game, I'm sure.
We're like, look at that way to stick it to me,
Yeah.
But hey, listen, both of you guys are in this. Obviously, it's not that often we see, family in these games, and we know it's survival of the fittest. But so the best of luck to both of you. Obviously, we'll see how it plays out. We already know, but let's see what the audience thinks about and how they'll talk about you guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Very nice meeting you.
Wilson Miles from Black Women TV. Hello, Kate. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing?
Good, good. So what led you to become a part of this project?
Yeah, so I love a challenge. I love doing something different, and this was very much that. You've got kind of other programs that aren't so intense with 456 players and such a huge prize fund. I was just like, throw caution to the wind, give it a go, and then there I was.
How much did you have to prepare for this?
I didn't really prepare. I mean, obviously we went through, lots of interviews and rounds to get through. So I guess you kind of know what you're maybe getting into in that interviewing process. But I don't think anybody can prepare. I think as much as you think you can, and people will watch and analyze season 1, and they'll be like, right, well, I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this. It's a game of luck, like point blank, bottom of the everything. You can't come into it with any kind of pre-existing ways that you're going to really play the game, I don't believe.
Unlike the series where obviously, if you don't make it, you die. Here, it's all about teamwork, knowing the people you're with and how to work it out so that one of you survives. So how did that process go, knowing that, okay, you're walking in there, you don't know how it's going to play out, but at some point or another, in order to get to the further rounds, you have to operate as a unit.
Yeah, I don't think anybody probably really operated as a unit. Like, I'm going to be really intrigued to see what the alliances were and kind of what happened. Like, I definitely played, and I played with the mentality that everyone was they were my friends. But I think in things like, obviously marbles, it's a head-to-head game. Only one person can win. In Snakes and Ladders, you're playing as a team. Obviously, there was a strategy behind that in hoping that people went down the chutes before we did, so we could work out which one you wouldn't necessarily have to go down. I think that as much as people want to think that they were part of a team or they had that alliance element, bottom line is everybody was there for themselves.
Did you ever play any games individually growing up, whether it be a sporting game or a card game where it's like winner takes all?
Oh my God, don't talk to me about cards after that treacherous pentathlon game, which I had to do cards. I was so bad at that. But no, but I've played sports like tennis, where I guess you're on the court on your own and you're having to, go against your opponent. So things like that. But not any kind of childhood games like they have in Squid Games. None of those kind of, the gongi or anything like that. Not growing up as a child. And actually I played Snakes and Ladders a lot as a kid, which is what we call it in the UK. And so actually that was really fun to do. The real live large version of your ultimate kids game. That was really exciting.
And at the end of the day, everybody's doing it for the money. So you walk in there, do you already have your list as far as, should I win, this is what I'm going to do?
Yep. My list was to give a large amount, obviously, to charity, which was my son's charity, PCD, because he's got a rare genetic lung condition, set my other kids up for life, pay off all my debts, and obviously go on maybe a nice holiday with my family. That would have been what I would like to have done. But the charity was my primary reason for being there.
They say this stuff now, but then when you win.
Yeah, no, I would have done. Everyone would have held me to that. But it will be interesting to see what happens.
Hey, I'm sure everybody's going to be looking forward to seeing every episode to see how it plays out. So congrats on being on the series. We'll talk down the road. Take care.
Thank you so much, Wilson. Take care. Have a good day.
Mm-hmm. Wilson Miles from Black Women TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Good. Obviously, people know what the game's all about. What led you guys to be part of this project?
So we got a message on our WhatsApp group, which is with our old agency, to sign up to this show. And we signed up, went through the process, got the call that we're in, and
that was brilliant
we
call.
were
That
there.
was a brilliant call.
Yeah, we were really excited before even getting the opportunity to sign up and stuff. So the fact that we were able to go on the show was just incredible and surreal.
And you watch the previous seasons to, when you're watching it and you say, well, if we get involved in that, this is what we're not going to do,
Yeah.
And remember, it's every man for himself.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, obviously, we were kind of like, I watched season 1, and there was a guy that was going around meeting everyone, which put a tiger on his back, which led to him getting voted out. So we were kind of thinking, let's be a bit low key when we get in there.
Low-key, yeah.
Obviously, that did not happen.
Did
the
not
way
happen,
it did.
did it? No.
So the strategy kind of went out the roof as soon as we decided to
Yeah.
step up to the plate. So,
With twins, you know, that's a balls on our back instantly. So we
And
had
then
to stay low key.
Yeah, I think once, like, obviously we were a target from the start, so why not just go all out in the game?
Think about it. You guys are twins. I'm sure you've battled each other left and right to see who gets the upper hand. But with this, in order to further advance, you need to work as a unit with other people before you have to decide for yourself. Okay, now it's all about me. You know, at what point did you feel like, okay, now it's all about me? Because in the beginning, it's about being as part of a unit.
Well, I think it was as soon as that was done, as soon as, we went through and, my team won, I think from then on it was like, okay, look, now I need to focus. At the end of the day, this is a game and it's about, one person's going to win. So after the first game, in my mind was, all right, the game's on, let's forget about that, move on to the next game and focus.
Now, do you guys know each other really well enough what the other one anticipates in order to get a better edge?
I mean, we know each other very well, not on a telepathical
No, that's
way,
not
though.
true, all that stuff.
But we know each other very well. I mean, like, that definitely was a massive advantage.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, the disadvantage was us being twins, target, but the advantage is that we had an alliance straight away with full trust.
And trust,
Knew how to work together the best way possible, as you can imagine, yeah.
Now, we won't spoil it for anybody who's looking to watch this or so forth. Coming in there, obviously everybody wants the money. Do each of you have the same goal? Or is it different?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I thought it was, there's 456 players going into the game. I wasn't, thinking, I'm going to win the money. I just wanted to be in an experience like that and just like push myself and see what I could do if I was put in a position like that. And yeah, I was put in the position and I'm pretty proud of how I did. So yeah, that it wasn't always about the money. I thought it was quite unrealistic to win it. So that was I think it changed for me throughout the game. Like some points I was like, the target's too big on my back. I'm not going to survive, so I'm just going to go all out. And then there were times where I was like, oh my god, we're getting actually through these games. I want to win the money. There's a big opportunity. So it was like it flustered a lot for me.
Yeah, it did.
The goal is always to win. The goal is always to win.
The realistic step. I think for me, step by step.
There was an athlete at one point that say, I come to win. Guys come to play, but I come to play and win. So you got to come in with that attitude. You can't just be happy that you got in. Even though there's that many players, you got to go in there and go all out.
Exactly. That's it. That's how we did.
How'd you enjoy the experience overall?
The experience was insane. Obviously, I've never experienced anything like that before. The living arrangement, the eating, the sleeping, that was
different.
That was proper tough. But the game intensity, working together, meeting loads of new people. Obviously, it was 90% Americans in there. So overall, it was just an intense experience throughout. For me, it's like I watched season 1. I thought I want to try that out and stuff. So I was put in the position to be there, and I just thought, okay, this is my time to like remember myself on the couch watching, saying I could do that, and I was there, and I did my best.
And the thing is, these are child games. Obviously, as adult games, your mind already works. But child games, you got to go back to that frame in order to, you can be oblivious and still win.
Yeah,
so like you have to be in that mind frame.
Yeah, exactly. Like the games could be so easy, but because you got that much money on the line, it's so intense. Like those games can just turn into like something that seems way more difficult than it is, even if it's catching a ball. And when you win, it's like you've won the World Cup.
Yeah,
the emotions are crazy in there.
Win or lose, congrats on being on the show. So let's hope it plays out for the best. Take care, folks.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.